welcome everybody. It's Chris Petri, and we're going to do an Extreme Beginner Series tutorial right now. We're going to actually have some fun and do some exercises. I always mention that every so often we'll take a break and we'll do some exercises, some methods, some techniques, things like that, versus just doing paintings. It's always good to do that. As a watercolor artist, we're always trying to add a couple tools to the toolbox, so to speak, extra things that we can add to our repertoire that are going to actually take our paintings to the next level. And these are a few of those things. So maybe we'll do maybe 3 or 4 things that are really kind of things that we should maybe make note of. So I'm hoping that maybe if you're in your studio or if you're in your living room or your kitchen, wherever you like to work with your watercolors, I'm hoping you'll just do these exercises that we're going to do right now. Make the notes on your paper just like I'm going to do now. And then maybe put this in a folder and put this, in your area where you like to work. And once in a while, just look at it, check it out, and see if it applies to anything that you're working on at the time. Sometimes not every exercise we do is going to be applicable to every painting you might be working on. But chances are all of these techniques and methods and small exercises that we're doing are going to be something worthwhile that you'll learn and you can utilize as you go forward in your drawing and your painting. So I'm hoping that that's what we can accomplish right now. We can get that idea in our mind that taking a few notes and doing a couple exercises every now and again while we're drawing and painting in watercolor, especially we're in the Extreme Beginner series. So this is, many of you are just starting out in watercolor, and these are important things you'll be able to kind of learn and drill on, and you'll have these going forward for your future paintings. So you'll be able to apply these to your paintings and these ideas. So let me do the first thing I'll do is maybe just let's cross-hatch this here. We'll do 4 exercises, and I'll just take the paper and I'll divide it into 4 sections. So I'll just do one like this. And then I'll do one like this here. And we'll do 4 sections here, and we'll take one at a time, and we'll kind of do it that way. So the first one we're going to do is a graded wash. A graded wash is very valuable, and we're going to kind of explain here. I like to explain how I view this type of exercise and how it's helpful. I like to write it down too, right below what we're going to do, our exercise, our swatch here. And I'll just take a regular retractable pencil, number 9. This is an 0.9 millimeter. And I'm working on some, trying to think of the paper here. Yeah, this is a pretty good paper. I've been using this more frequently, Arteza. This is some really nice paper. I don't get paid to show the paper and what I'm using. I'm just showing you what I like to use. Arteza 32 sheet watercolor pad, and these are 11 by 14. So this is an 11 by 14 inch pad, 140 pound paper. Quite nice paper, and it's affordable. It's not it's not the high end Arches. It's affordable. Performs really nicely. Again, you use the best paper you can for what you can afford in your budget. I sometimes work on even printer paper. Printer paper sometimes is really good. Just for practice, I use printer paper. This way I save money on using some better paper that I might have. Okay, so this is the first swatch. We'll just do a square. Graded wash. You can do this exercise going left to right like this, or you can do it from the top going down this way. Let's go left to right. And let's start out with, let's do blue and purple. Blue and purple, kind of a mix there. And the graded washes, really, we're starting out, and let me draw this up top too, just so we kind of get an idea here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to basically kind of scale this into 4 light to dark increments, scales. So the first is going to be dark, dark. The darkest dark is over here, like that. And we're going to take our swatch and just do a graded wash. We'll do the darkest dark over here first. So I'm going to get that purple and blue and just get it thick over here. Thick paint, not much water. That's the first part. That's how we get started with this dark here. Thick paint, not much water. Then as we move on, we rinse off the brush, take a little bit of water off the brush on a paper towel or a napkin or tissue. Then I, of course, dampen the brush, make it a little bit less dark, and let's go with a medium tone there. And there we go. We'll have a medium tone starting there. And then we'll just do the same thing up here. We'll just make a note of it up here. This is like a medium tone. It's not a dark tonal value. It's a like a dark to medium tonal value there. Then I rinse off my brush, dry off a little bit of the water on the tissue. And we're going to do a lighter tone there, here. Like that. Can you see how that's getting quite a bit lighter? Thus, the Grated Wash. And then we'll put our Grated Wash up here and our tonal value that represents here. This one is here, a little darker, there, super dark up here, and over here it just, almost white paper there. Maybe a touch of color, but not much. Almost white paper there, like that. That is a Grated Wash. Now, you may ask yourself and say, "Hey, Chris, okay, that's a Grated Wash. What's so exciting about it, or what is it? What is it used for, or is it? What are you getting at here?" Well, I'll show you just in a second. Look, this is how you create light in your paintings. So if this is your spotlight or your sunlight, this spotlight represents either sunlight or light in a room, or maybe a lamp that's on, that's shining on your subject matter, whatever it is. And that light's coming from this way, shining across your object. That's your light side of your object. And then as it goes this way, it goes into shadow and it gets darker. So if you want to create beautiful light in your paintings, that's the first way you can sort of start to work on that, is by getting this kind of interesting, really cool Grated Wash going. If you can practice this Grated Wash and kind of say, all right, I see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I can get the super dark, kind of like a medium dark tone, a lighter tone here, and then almost white, just white paper there, you have it. You go right across and blend them all together, and that creates the illusion of light. So this could be a wall, this could be a vase, this could be a flower, this could be any subject matter. This just represents any subject matter. This square represents anything. It could be a flower, it could be a vase, it could be a wall of a house, it could be a something like a tree, anything like that. It could be really anything. The basics of it, the basics of this really are the darker middle tonal value, more of a lighter tonal value, and then the white paper. And if you can slowly, gradually get these from dark to light, and you can even get a little more straight paint, no water whatsoever, you can get it a little bit darker over here too, like that. And then dampen the brush, dry it off a little, and then just smooth it out, like that. And then you can kind of see how you get that beautiful light effect going across. Like that. And then rinse off my brush, just a damp brush now, no paint, just a damp brush, and there we have it. So I hope that's really something, the Grated Wash, you could basically say the Grated Wash, and then you could just, put over here, creates light effects. Grated Wash creates light effects, because it really does. This is like how great, interesting paintings that you're going to look at ones that you've already painted. You've probably done this before. You maybe just didn't realize that it is the graded wash that you're creating as you're going through your paintings. But I know we've done a lot of paintings on the Extreme Beginner series, and so I'm sure you've used this technique already, but I just want to put it down so it's like in a format that you can save, put in a folder, and you have it. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we're going to start our second section over here, which is a method and technique. We're going to call it Lost and Found Edges, which is really fun too. You're going to see how you can create really beautiful dynamics in your painting by using the Lost and Found technique. Lost and Found Edges. We'll do that next in just a minute. I'm just going to take a quick break. Okay, I'm going to grab a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and we're going to do the Lost and Found Edges. Let's create our next exercise, Lost and Found Edges. And we're just going to create maybe we're just going to make a simple, maybe a little small cabin or shack with a roof on there, and maybe a doorway here and a window like that. Just a simple design that we can use to create our Lost and Found Edges. Now I'm going to do a tree here, so I'm going to do a tree trunk here, like this. Like this here, like that. Okay, so we have our drawing done, and it's a simple shack, little, maybe a hunter's cabin or a fishing shack along the shore. And what I just want to show is that in your paintings you're going to have some really dynamic found edges, which are going to be very sharp, and then you're going to have some lost edges, which are going to be sort of hard to see, where one item or one part of your subject merges into another. It'll be harder to see those edges as they merge. So thus, you have your lost and found edges, and we'll kind of develop this idea right now. I'm just going to take some black for the roof with some brown, so black and brown for the roof, a little bit of blue maybe in there too. Let me do the roof here. So I'm going to do the roof first, like this, of the cabin or the fishing shack, whatever you want to. We're just going to make something simple so we can kind of, I'll actually add some green to that, light and dark green, just sort of to kind of merge in. And then our tree, look at this. We have tree branches, and they're pretty close, dark and light. And can you see how that works? So I'm just going to do some tree foliage. And can you see how that kind of merges together with the roof? That's your lost edges. So in your paintings, you have to, let's be aware of that, that's all. Let's be aware that there are going to sometimes be some lost edges that are going to, and I'm going to do a little splashing here just to make it a little interesting like that. And then brown, we'll mix some brown in here for our tree trunk, like this. Like that. And then maybe we have an orange and brown wood kind of color here. And I'm just going to do some wood color here, some nice brownish gold, orangey, you know, wood color there. We'll let that dry. We don't want to, and we'll take some more green here. And we'll just do some green across here, like that. We're doing an exercise here, so like I'm not getting too fussy with this. But you can kind of see here we've developed the idea of lost and found edges. Now we can take some blue, make a sky color like this, and we'll do this. And I'm just scrubbing on some color. Nothing fancy. I'm not trying to create an incredible painting here or anything like that. We're doing an exercise. Have fun with your exercises like we're doing here. Don't get frustrated or worry about things looking perfect. You're just having some fun doing your exercises here. Splash around a little bit. This is the time to splash and have a good time and have fun with your paintings. And that's all. I'm just kind of filling in the white paper just with a little bit of color, just to get some color in there. And if you get some really blurry looking edges and things start to get out of control, you just have to remember, maybe you let things dry a little bit here and there as you go. Maybe you just do the tree and the roof and the tree trunk first, and then you let that dry for like a half an hour, or you blow dry it. And then you go back in and do the walls and blow dry that, and then you do your sky and your grass next. So try to time your painting and your washes that you feel are going to work for you. I'm working kind of fast here to do this exercise, so maybe sometimes I go a little quick and I take shortcuts like I left. You can see I left white paper here under the roof. That's so I didn't let the roof color bleed into the wall of the shack here. Then I can go in now and do a shadow color like this underneath, like that. And now it's dry, the roof. So the roof is dry now. I can add a shadow under here, like that. And it won't, mix and mingle too much and sort of lose its edges and its interesting colors. Okay, so that's, we can also a little bit of shadow on the windows and doors, like that. Again, this is the exercise of lost and found edges, and again here, we just remember the lost edges are the tree foliage, the leaves of the tree, and the roof are mingled and mixed together, and you lose, it's a lost edge here, lost edge. The edge of this roof, we really don't see it all because it's merged in with the leaves because they're the same dark and lightness. They're the same dark tonal value. So I hope you see that's your lost edges here, and you need to have those in your paintings because this happens all the time in pictures, paintings, real life, when you're outdoors, plein air painting or what have you. So I'm hoping you'll see that there are many times you're going to have objects that are next to each other that merge together and you won't even see where one starts and the other. I don't see where the leaves start and the roof edge starts. They all blend together. That's the lost edge. The found edges are easily found because they're here. The sky is way lighter than the roof here. So you see that's a found edge. Where else is there a found edge? Can you find more found edges here? How about here? The wall and the sky. The wall is quite a bit darker than the sky, so that's another found edge. And the door and the wall, that's a found edge. The tree trunk and the light sky is a found edge. Again, the lost edges are here, the tree and the roof, and also too, to some extent, the roof and the shadow underneath. The roof, the eave of the roof here. That's sort of close to a lost edge. We're starting to see like it's hard to see where the edge of the roof is here and the underside of the eave, because we put that shadow color under there. And I'll just make that a little darker too, like that. And of course the sunlight is coming from up here, just so we know. We'll use this for our light effect. This is our key indicator of where our light's coming from. Our light's coming from up top like this. Okay, so I hope we have this really solid, lost, and found edges. You can use this in your paintings all the time. Most every painting you'll ever create, you're going to have some lost and some found edges. It's just inevitable. That's how nature is. And if you are recognizing this, you'll have a lot more fun, and you won't be, getting stuck in that. A lot of times artists like to make everything look exciting, and they want to kind of isolate everything. So many times an artist would make this roof a lot darker or maybe even lighter than the tree, or they might make the tree a lot lighter and the roof darker so that, it kind of stands out and looks interesting. But the reality is, if you can kind of lose these edges here and there in your painting, it's going to look more three-dimensional and more pleasing looking. So that's the bottom line. You want to have your paintings looking pleasing. I hope you'll understand that. I want my paintings to look more pleasing and pleasant. I hope you want yours too, to have that real gorgeous look of three-dimensionality and things, kind of like flowing and like vibrating your paintings. And if you use this principle of recognizing where you can lose some edges, like so, where the roof and the tree is, maybe where the shadow is underneath the roof eave, these type of things will really enhance your paintings. And we're going to have a found edge here and a found edge here. These are the shadows under the windows. Maybe this one's on an angle like that. Maybe like this. And we'll maybe make it darker. There we go. Okay, we're going to get started on our next exercise. Glad you're joining along here. And I always mention, if you're having a great time and you want to subscribe, right on the right-hand side down here below, on the right-hand side is the subscribe button. If you subscribe, all it does is just really, the next time you open up YouTube in a week from now or a couple days from now, if I've made any new videos, you'll see them there first. That's YouTube's way of saying, if you like my channel, Chris Petri, if you like my videos, my tutorials, they're always going to put them, those videos in your YouTube channel. So when you open up YouTube, you're going to see them first. This way, you can just check out my videos, see what I'm doing, what I'm up to. You can join in along with us and paint and draw as we go. If it's something you don't like, a video, maybe you're not too happy about a certain subject matter, maybe you're really not interested in flowers or boats or whatever, and no problem. You can just wait till the next week. But if you're subscribed, you'll always constantly get the videos coming into your YouTube channel, so you can decide whether you'd like to work on some of the things we're working on here or not. So I'm hoping you will subscribe, and if you like this video, please thumbs up. That really helps me a lot too. So let's keep going here. I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to start with our next exercise. Okay, so I'll be right back. All right, we're getting started again. Let me just draw a line across here. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is local color. Local color is critical with watercolor paintings. Essentially what it does is it gives you an idea of light and shadow in your subject matter. So whether you're painting a wine bottle, a house, a lemon, a tomato, a figure, whatever it is, you're always going to have what's called local color, which is the inherent color of the object, regardless of the effects of light and shadow. That's a lot. That's a, you know, that's a, I'm just going to put it down here on my paper as local color, and I'll just kind of local color. Again, local color is the inherent color of a subject, of an object, regardless of light and shadow. So that would be the area of the subject that's not being affected by light or shadow. That's the inherent, you know, the inherent color of this object. So let's do a lemon. Lemons are really something, you know, I find, like, if I'm painting a lemon in a still life painting with like some flowers, some lemons, some fruit, a wine bottle, whatever it might be. I'm going to change my water and get some fresh water here. So I'm always trying to get fresh water, clean my palette all the time. You will notice I try to keep my palette clean. So right now I've got a lot of paint there. Why not? Let's just clean up the palette as we go. Have good habits. Try to always keep your palette clean. This way, if you have to mix some colors when you're working, you know, you'll have some spaces to make fresh, clean color, and you won't be kind of mixing it in with other dull colors that are in your palette already. So if you can keep a nice, clean palette like that, as you go, you know, you fill up your wells of your palette as you go when you paint, and then when you're all full and you have all your colors in there mixed, then you would go in and take a break and clean up the palette, start fresh again. And that's provided you have your colors memorized. And if you do have some colors that are still clean and they're not too muddy looking, you can leave those in there, and you don't have to really clean those sections out of your palette. You're the artist. You figure out when you need to clean the palette and what areas you might need to clean. Some areas you might have just only one color in there. No need to wipe that up. If you're just, like, let's say, having a red or a blue or a purple in one section and you haven't mixed any other colors in there, well, that, if it's not muddy looking or mixed and looking, you know, kind of dull looking, yeah, you can leave that in there. That's fine. But I just tend to just go right down the whole palette and clean up, and then I'm fresh and ready to go here. So let's see. Local color, we're going to use a lemon. So let me just, maybe I'll draw like a table, maybe just so I have a little bit of a table there. And then let me just draw a lemon like this. Like that. Okay, that's a lemon. And we'll put the table back there, just a little bit of a table, so that the lemon doesn't feel like it's floating off into space at all. And I'll just do a little erasing here, like that. Okay, so now let's paint the local color of the lemon. I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to get the, let's do this. Touch of the green in there. Let's get that lemony yellow there. Okay, so now we're going to paint the local color, which is the inherent color of the subject, regardless of light and shadow. So that's going to be our inherent color there. And that would be, maybe, let's call this, the light is coming from here. Okay. So this is our lemon, and we're just going to get the lemon, the local color, the color of the lemon, regardless of what light is shining on it or if there's any shadows. And this is the local color there, like this. Okay, so that's our local color. And maybe we'll just make a little bit of light on the top of the lemon there. Now let's do the effects of light. The light's on this side coming this way, so let's make this lighter. And you can see right now, that's a little bit lighter. You can even enhance the light a little bit by blotting just a touch with some tissue or paper towel. Like that. And there we have local color, and then this here is your light effect. Now let's go with our shadow effect. Maybe there's a little bit of orange in there. Maybe a little bit of brown and orange. Almost like a raw sienna or yellow ochre, like this. Okay, this is going to be our shadow color. Maybe even a little bit of blue. Let's do this though. Let's start out with that. And then let's add a touch of blue maybe. Like that. And then let's even add a shadow. So I'm rinsing off my brush, drying off a little bit of the water on a paper towel. And let's take some of the shadow color and put it over here. Like that. Maybe add a little blue or purple for the shadow area. And then blend it in a little bit like this. Okay, there we have it. We have local color. And let's not confuse anything here. Let's go right in and make our notes right on here. This is the local color. The inerrant color. Local color. This is light. And this is shadow. Okay, now that's really helpful. So when you're creating a painting and you're having, let's say you're painting a lemon or a tomato or an apple, anything like that, realize if you have some light, if you have a light source, whether it's the sunlight, or a light fixture, or a light in a kitchen, or anything like that, sunlight, again, anything, any light shining on your subject, you're going to have the light side, you're going to have the local color, which is the color that's really not being affected by the light or the shadow, and then you have your shadow side, which is over here. You can see how that's affected. That is very, quite a bit dark, so you can kind of see how the shadow side is affected quite a bit with the darker purples and shadow colors under here. Local color is just, that's the color of the object if you don't have any light or shadow really affecting it. And then you have your light side, which is over here. And that's where the sunlight or the light fixture or anything that's introducing quite a bit of light to your subject, that's over here. And you can see how light that is, right? That's quite a bit lighter over here on this side of the lemon. And then the shadow under here is darker. So that's the local color. And the importance of local color is you're realizing that you do have, essentially, if you do have a strong bit of light in your picture, your painting, your photograph, you're working from books, whatever it is, you're going to have your light effect, your light on your subject matter, which is going to create a lighter tonal value. You could even say over here you have your light. That's your light, like that. Then your local color is over here, like this. And then you have your shadow, which is kind of a mixture of your purples and blues and kind of a mixture of all those in your shadow. With a little more purple in there, maybe. Like that. Okay, very important. I'm hoping you're going to try this exercise at home, have a fun time with it. This is when you have your fun with watercolors. You're not worried about stressing, oh, I got to create a beautiful painting, whatever, no sweat. You do these exercises, you have fun with them, and then you learn also, too, these concepts, and then you're going to use these concepts constantly when you're creating your watercolor paintings. So if you drill on these and you paint these and try these over and over and over again until you kind of memorize them, you'll have fun while you're doing them, and you won't have any stress because it's not a finished painting. Obviously, you get a little more stress, right, when you're trying to create those finished paintings, and then you'll have a great time with it. You'll learn the fundamentals of the watercolor medium. these, again, are going to really be a tremendous help to your paintings looking better. If you're always aware of the light and shadows in your paintings, lost and found edges. And we're going to do one more. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. And again, I always mention, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe on the right-hand side below. This way YouTube will just make sure you're seeing my videos the next time you open up your YouTube channel. And I also mentioned too, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. Happy to answer any of your questions. And I'm thanking everybody too. You guys leave such great comments and encouragement, and that really keeps me fueled and going, excited about watercolors and painting here on YouTube. And I can't thank you enough. And I also mentioned too, if this is the first time you're here and you've never seen one of my videos before, I'm hoping you're going to subscribe, of course, and you're going to go back and look at all my archives. I have hundreds of paintings that are tutorials like this, as well as many, much more finished paintings you can do. You can choose from any type of subject matter: flowers, cityscapes, landscapes, figure painting, portrait painting. I do, anything, boat paintings, ocean, seascapes, beach scenes. I do the whole gamut of watercolor subject matter. So all you have to do is just type in Chris Petri, oceans. You'll see 20 ocean paintings. Chris Petri, flowers. You'll see 50 paintings on flowers, and you can choose whichever one you'd like to paint and draw and paint. So I have tons of content already in my archives on YouTube, and trust me, I'll be doing much more videos every week as we go forward each week. So you can, if you don't want to really go back and look at some of the archives, trust me, I'm going to be here each week creating new paintings, new content all the time. So get excited. We're learning watercolor together. And again, this is the Extreme Beginner series. So those of you that are just starting out, you're doing these exercises, you're keeping this in your file next to your art table, wherever you work. You stuff this in a little manila folder. You have it forever. You refer back to it when you need to. And if you do these exercises, for maybe 6 months to a year, and you try this out, maybe once a month you do these exercises, after about a year, you won't need to practice them anymore. They'll just be, you'll have them memorized, and you'll be able to just implement these in your paintings. Your paintings will look so much better. And I know your paintings are already coming out better already, so just imagine how good they're going to be in a year from now. Okay? All right, let's get a quick break in here, and then we'll come right back and we'll do our last exercise, okay? Be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm actually going to get started on the last color variety exercise here. I drew 4 swatches. So I drew 4 rectangles, squares, pretty much squares, rectangles. I think they're all rectangles, basically. And the most important thing I'm going to kind of do here with color varieties, kind of just explain how you can really get a lot of impact and exciting color variety by using colors in the same family. So let's start out. We'll do red. Let's do this. Let's do red here. Just so we can, so let's say you're going to do a barn. Let's say you're going to say, oh, you find a beautiful red barn, you take a picture of it, you're out in the countryside on vacation, or, you see a picture in a book or in a magazine or online, you find a beautiful red barn and you say, ooh, I'm going to paint that red barn. It looks so good. So you go in there and you say, all right, now it's time to paint the red barn, and you're wondering, wow, how can I make that barn look more exciting? And that's the thing. You're the artist. You have to always remember that you want to be able to make things more exciting than maybe just what you're seeing. So maybe when you look at a photograph, or even if you're on location and you have a chair and a sketchbook in front of you, and you're actually going to sit there and paint a barn while you're out in the field, in a beautiful farm setting, the thing is, you might just see like one color, like let's say this red here. Maybe this is the color of the barn. But as a watercolor artist, you have to remember, you want to make things more exciting. You want to get in there and say, you know what? Yeah, I kind of see that barn is like that one color red. There might be a little subtlety to it, but it all pretty much looks like the one color. This is where you take your art to another level. You say, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get, into that, mode of thinking of, I'm just going to paint it what I see, you can realize, ooh, I can actually add much more impact and color to that. Let's go with this too. Let's use this red. Why not? So instead of just going with one red and saying, well, that's the barn, that's what it looks like, just one red. That's all I see is one red. That's what I'm going to paint it like. No, you can do this. You can take artist liberty and make things more exciting. So then you take a little bit of a more warmer red here. See, this is kind of a cool red here. This is kind of like a alizarin crimson. Well, then you can go in and grab like a cadmium red hue. And then you can rinse off your brush and say, I'm going to even go more. I'm going to take an orange too. Yeah, orange mixed in with a little bit of that red. You want to kind of blend it in. You may not see orange there at all, but why not? Hey, then you might say, okay, well, now I'm seeing shadows in that barn in a couple spots. Well, all right, shadows. Let's do blue. Let's not just keep that one blue. Let's do a couple blues. French ultramarine blue, kind of like a cerulean blue there, maybe a purple too. And then this purple too. Okay, that is the exciting variety of colors. And let's do a swatch. Let's try it out. Have fun with this, enjoy it. Go in, do a little bit of here. Rinse off the brush a little bit, dry it off on a paper towel, so I use a paper towel or a tissue. Dry it off your brush a little bit and go in and get the other reds, the medium darker orange there. Go in and get some straight paint. Okay. Then the lighter orange, almost like a cadmium orange. Look at how good that looks, right? Are you with me on this? I hope you're with me on this, because this is really what makes watercolor exciting. You can use all these colors and then a little bit of shadowing here. Maybe there's some shadowing. So you're going to go in and do shadowing, and you're going to mix all the different blues here, purples too. And then you take that, you rinse off the brush, dry off on the paper towel a little bit, and then just use a damp brush and kind of blend those in like that. And then maybe you go in and grab a little bit of more red, just to kind of, and then you'd rinse off again, dry the brush and kind of blend it in like so. So here you can kind of see, look at all that variety we have there. That's much preferable than going in and saying, oh, I see the red barn, and I'm just going to do this. Okay, all right, I'm going to go in and do the red barn like that, because that's all I'm seeing in there on the picture or in person. And then, oh, I see some shadow. Okay, so now I got my red and my purple shadow. But I think you'll agree with me that this looks much better than this. Look how much interesting color you have here, all different mixtures of the reds. The red, the dark orange or reddish orange, and then you have your cadmium orange or orange. We could have even added this a little bit too. But that is much preferable than just looking at the barn in, again, a photograph, or if you're out in the country and you're out in a scene and you're doing some plein air painting and you see a barn and you go, oh yeah, it's red, I see it's red. And oh, it's only one color red, I don't see it. Trust me, your painting will look much better if you add some extra excitement to it, and it's easy. You're using all the same reds. It's not tricky. Does that make sense? It's not complicated. We're just using, like 3 or 4. Even this orange can work in there too. So you can use all these 4 colors. They're pretty much the same, in the same family of hues. They're really, really, warm reds and oranges. And you get all that gorgeous, interesting, modulating color. And then, of course, too, the same thing with the blues and the purples. Add lots of blues and purples, which are all similar in, the cool colors. And you can get a lot of variation in there. Let's try one more example. We have red here. Let's try green. Okay, so we have green here. Let's say we're going to see Maybe there's a greenhouse we're looking at. Maybe there's a greenhouse somewhere and we're painting a greenhouse. And we've got, okay, let's pretend we just saw a greenhouse there. All right, let's use one color. Oh, look at that. I see the greenhouse. It's a greenhouse, yep. There it is. Oh, I see a little bit of purple shadow in there. Okay. There we go. Okay, there it is. Now, you're the artist. You have to decide, am I going to make it more exciting? And how difficult is it to make it more exciting? Not very difficult, as you're going to see here. Look, we're going to go with the green here. Then we're going to go with this middle green, which is kind of like a leaf green. Then let's go with yellow. Yellow is pretty close to green, you know, for the most part. We can get a little bit of that green going there, which is like yellow and green mixed together. So that's like a lighter version of leaf green, or a lighter green, greenish yellow. There we go. 1, 2, and even this here. This is like a viridian green. A viridian, so we can use that. So right now we have all these beautiful greens, and then we're going to go back in and mix some more blue shadowing color. Not one blue, but 4 with purple. Blue. Then we're going to have some French ultramarine blue, and then some purple. All right, now we're going to say, let's make this much more exciting than just this. We saw a green, beautiful greenhouse in the countryside here. We're painting it. Let's mix them all together. Wow. And let's get this too. And this too. And let's get a little bit of this too. And then let's go over here and get the medium blue, French ultramarine. And then let's get some purple. Does that look more exciting? I agree with you, because I know you're agreeing with me, to say that that's much more exciting than just doing this. So all we did was we just mixed, again, nothing complicated. Like if you have something green, you have a lot of things, a lot of colors in your palette that you can mix that are going to really be very similar. So you're not going to be, you know, feeling uncomfortable that you're mixing kind of like greens with purples or greens with reds, things like that. You're not mixing pretty much colors that are dissimilar. Let's say you're just sticking with the same family of colors. There we go. Green, which is like a sap green here. And then you're going in and you're having the lighter green, which is kind of like a leaf green. Then you're going to get a yellow, which is similar, you know, with a little bit of the green in my brush here that I'm mixing. That's kind of like a lighter green with some yellow in there, like a yellow green. And look at that. We have all these beautiful color variations here versus just using one green like here. That's boring looking. So that's color variety. It's simple to do. I'm hoping you're going to do that. It's really, again, a simple thing of just the mental block of remembering you have lots of choices with watercolor, and you have lots of choices with your colors in your palette. So if you practice color variety, if you take this one exercise and do it 5 or 6 times, just separately on a larger piece of paper, try different color combinations, do reds, do greens, then do some blues, maybe try some earth colors, browns mixed with some orange. You can do different variations of this, but these are the 2 simple ones I'm thinking of, are just the reds, the reds and oranges for the red, with the blues and the purples here for the shadowing. And then here the greens with a little bit of purple and blue shadowing, which we added lots of variety, and here we didn't use much variety. And you can kind of see that these are much more interesting. So we'll call these the variety. Variety here. Non-variety here. And if you practice this exercise quite often for a number of times, you'll probably lock it into your mind that, yeah, when you're doing a watercolor painting, you can always very simply up your game by adding more interesting colors and mixes that are very simple to do. You don't have to really worry about, again, doing any kind of crazy muddy-looking paints or muddy-looking colors. You're just mixing within your same family of colors. So reds and oranges, and then greens and yellow. And then, of course, adding your blues for the shadow colors, blues and purples. So it's kind of pretty straightforward. And again, a great technique and a great method and great exercise to do to keep yourself from kind of falling into that pitfall of just grabbing one color and painting and saying, well, it's only one color. I only see one red there on that barn. Don't do that. Do this. Add tons of extra color in there. Make it look beautiful. And then, you know, you'll have a beautiful painting and other people will look at it and go, ooh, wow, that looks great. Okay, all right, so I'm going to get going here. Thanks again for joining me on this Extreme Beginners series of painting and drawing on this fun time we've had here. Let's remember, try to practice these, you know, a couple, 2-3 times, maybe more often. Maybe try them once a month for like a year or a half a year. After that, you'll have them memorized. That's really the thing. If you can memorize all of these concepts, they'll be part of your paintings, and you'll really have a lot more fun having more, like, you know, options when you're going in to do a painting. You'll feel like you have a lot of freedom when you're going into a painting because you're saying, oh, yeah, I know I can do some graded washes on this particular subject that I'm doing. Or, you know, oh, I can make sure I'm getting in some lost and found edges in my paintings. Or I'm definitely paying attention that there's local color all the time. If I'm having a strong light source, then I'm having definitely a local color and then a light and a shadow color in my painting, which will give you a lot of variation too, which is kind of like color variety. This is the light, which gives you the shadow, and the light gives you variety. And then also too here, if you add different colors, you're getting variety in that sense with just using colors that we did here on the palette. So again, happy painting, everybody. Enjoy, and we'll see you on the next wonderful tutorial. Bye-bye.